She sits in the middle of the body. It's incredible. We were first started getting letters to different places. We were getting all these obscure places. Little South Dakota. What was the one where that's? No. It was some church. What was it? Denver. That tuition was
You're doing the regular stuff.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
a lot of them are virtual.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, if you're out in the cutoff, 14 or 15, it is already. That's what happens. No, San Diego one, we're on it. You see what I mean? We had this by ourselves. It's a virtual thing where you walk on your own. What's funny though is like ESU, they have the same like vice versa.
Oh, yeah.
Anything in fact, but we were living out on Stanford, UCLA, or higher. Schools, new system, the state system, I was lucky enough last year in Flagstaff that I had an apartment that central living place. And then there were 4 bedrooms that were off to the side. I've heard there's a bunch of them that are like all that. Their houses. That's all it's at. I had several friends that would do that in Anchorage for condos. They would have a spot in Anchorage to get to my hometown. You got to fly there. Always in Anchorage. Yeah, just rock. There's turnabouts, roundabouts, all over. Light rail all over Silver Road. Tore down Mason. Pushed all the buildings down. Built all the way. It's pretty much wall to wall. Right down to trailer parks. Right downtown, yeah. It's a 4 lane road, now it's 2 lane.
Hey, to all of our audience, we're going to start at 6:10, our meeting. We're a little late on a study session. So 6:10 we'll be starting. Good evening. Tonight we have a regular city council meeting, which is short, and there is a pure consent agenda. Then we have a study session, which will follow, of which many of you are here for, either to comment or to listen to cases, and that will be after our first regular meeting. So with that, I'd like to call to order our regular city council meeting of Monday, October 24th, 2022. And clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Hartke,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, City Clerk. Our invocation tonight will be led by a dear friend of the city, Rabbi Mendy Deutsch from the Palak Chabad Center for Jewish Life. And our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Scout Troop 285. Rabbi.
Thank you. I'd like to add my blessing to the already amazing work that the city does. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Council, for all that you do. Almighty God, we stand before you in prayer. Look favorably upon the Mayor and honorable members of the City Council of our great city of Chandler. We beseech you, Almighty and merciful God, to extend your grace to each and every member in this body and bestow upon them the joy of life, good health, and prosperity. Bless these distinguished individuals who have chosen to make laws and decisions for the citizens of our city. Grant these public servants wisdom and understanding in their noble pursuit of justice and equality. In July of this year, Arizona's House of Representatives passed HB 2707 into law, requiring all K-12 public school students to set aside 1 to 2 minutes at the beginning of every day for a moment of silence and reflection. This will help provide a framework for our dearest and most precious citizens, the ability to reflect on a higher power, each according to their upbringing. I encourage the city leaders, and its members to carry out this most important task and ensure that this city becomes the moral leaders of our next generation. Give them the guidance so that they will always be conscious of your presence and will strive to enact laws with honesty and integrity in accordance with your will. May you have the wisdom to turn adversity into opportunity and to transform the hard challenges we face today into the seeds from which will sprout forth and growth of tomorrow. May our city serve as a beacon of light for people of all faiths and walks of life. May Chandler help achieve the goal so powerfully stated in our Pledge of Allegiance, so that America is truly one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now let us say amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi. Scout Troop 285, please come forward.
May the audience please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Scout Troop 285. Please be seated. Next on our agenda is scheduled public appearances. Oh, I'm sorry, no, we're still in this meeting. We have a consent agenda. And council, these are finals and things that we have mostly, if not all, looked at previously and have voted on them. What's your pleasure?
Mayor.
Vice Mayor.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion reference City Council regular meeting for October 24th to approve consent items number 1 through 7.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Stewart. Any recusals or any other comments necessary? Seeing none, council, please vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thank you, council. That concludes our regular meeting. Next, we have our study session. Clerk, this is recorded separately and shows up separately as items. So clerk, please take the roll.
Mayor Harkey,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rowe,
Here.
Councilmember Harris,
Here.
Councilmember Lopez,
Here.
Councilmember Stewart,
Here.
Councilmember Ellis,
Here.
Councilmember Orlando.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. Next on our agenda is scheduled public appearances, and I would like to invite Councilmember Orlando to join me up front. City Manager. All right, first we have retirement recognitions. City Manager.
Mayor, if you're all right, I'll actually start with the service recognitions tonight real quick. So our first service recognition is from the Human Resources Department. I'd like to invite Raylyn Nielsen, our Human Resources Director, forward to make that presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to call Denise Ruiz up to come up to the podium and celebrate her 15 years of service. So Denise began her journey with Team Chandler actually in 2003, where she served as a cooperative office education student or COE student through Chandler High School. After the completion of the COE program, Denise was hired as a temporary administrative assistant and had the opportunity to work in accounting, housing, streets, water distribution, and eventually HR, which she never left. Denise excelled so much in her administrative role in HR that she was selected for a full-time regular human resources clerk position in 2007. She has been promoted twice during her tenure, first to HR specialist and then to her current role of HR analyst. Denise primarily supports community services, buildings and facilities, and fleet with their human resources needs. She processes well over 300 new hires each year for her departments, always with a smile on her face, and is eager to learn new things. She's joined tonight by her husband, Jesus, who also is a member of Team Chandler and works for the A-Wharf plant, and her daughter, Samantha, and son, Isaiah, which we hope one day to also join Team Chandler. So we're going to have the whole family. So Denise, congratulations on 15 plus years of service with Team Chandler, and we look forward to many more.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, our next 4 service recognitions are from the police department. I'd like to invite Sean Duggan, our chief of police, to come forward. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to ask Kristen Rogers to join us here in recognition of her 15 years of service with the city. So Kristen joined the police department as an experienced forensic scientist back in 2007, assigned to the Blood, Alcohol, and Controlled Substances Unit. In 2011, she completed training in the latent print unit. She has continued to maintain proficiency in all 4 of the forensic analysis disciplines within the crime laboratory. Kristen is a certified latent print examiner through the International Association for Identification. She holds a blood alcohol analyst permit from the state of Arizona and is a forensic technical accreditation assessor. Kristen has served as the technical lead in 2 disciplines, creating policy and training manuals. She's a quick learner, has excellent attention to detail and time management skills. And she's known for her dedication to the city of Chandler through her professionalism, commitment to quality service, and the pride she takes in her work. This, along with her calm demeanor when challenges arise, as they do, has created a consistent success throughout her career. So Kristen, thank you for your dedication and for 15 years of service with the Chandler Police Department. I'd now like to ask Detective Ashley Nolan to come forward in recognition of her 15 years with the city of Chandler. So Ashley began her career with the police department in 2007, and after recruit training, Ashley was assigned to patrol, where she quickly earned a reputation as a tenacious crime fighter and a team player. She spent the next 5 years developing her skills and talents as a police officer. Her hard work paid off, and in 2012, Ashley was selected to become a detective in the sex crimes unit where she currently serves today. And over the past 10 years, Ashley has investigated hundreds of sexually motivated crimes. And as you can imagine, this is a very difficult job. Yet she consistently comes to work with a very positive attitude and just a commitment to helping others. She has trained and mentored new detectives and has become a recognized leader within the sex crimes unit. And most recently, Ashley has taken on the investigation of cold case sex crimes, bringing offenders to justice and providing closure to victims. And she has developed a reputation as a hardworking, dependable teammate who is respected by her supervisors and peers. So Ashley, thank you for all your hard work and congratulations on your 15 years of service. Was it me? I now like to ask Detective Jason Scoutman to come forward in recognition of his 20 years of service. So Jason began his career with the police department in 2002, serving in patrol, and quickly established himself as a focused and highly determined officer. He spent the next 6 years learning and developing his tradecraft as a patrol officer. In 2008, his hard work paid off when he was selected to become a detective in the Criminal Investigations Bureau, where he first served as a detective in the Financial Crimes Unit before moving to his current assignment in the Property Crimes Unit. In addition to his primary responsibilities, Jason also serves as a member of the department's SWAT technical support team and also serves as a driving trainer instructor. Jason is very well known for his strong work ethic and being a dependable teammate whenever he has to work. So Jason, I just want to thank you for your 20 years of service. It's a very long time, and we appreciate all you do for our city and for the police department. So congratulations. And I would now like to invite Commander Zach Kamar to come forward in recognition of his 20 years with the city. So Zach started with the police department again back in 2002, where he primarily served in patrol and assisted the department as a general instructor and as a terrorist liaison officer. While serving as an officer, Zach received his law degree from Phoenix Law School in 2013. In 2015, Zach was promoted to sergeant assigned to patrol in the Desert Breeze precinct. He later served as the technology sergeant within the technology unit, and then in 2018 was promoted to lieutenant. Zach worked patrol as a nighttime watch commander and returned to the police technology unit to lead it during a transitional period. In 2021, Zach received the James Snedeker Public Service Award from the Chandler Chamber in recognition of his volunteerism and community service. And then earlier this year, Zach was promoted to commander and continues to oversee the police technology unit. So Zach, congratulations on your 20 years of service and all you do to help support the police department. Well done. Mayor and Council, I'd like to invite forward at this time Kim Moyers, our Cultural Development Director, to make her service recognition presentation.
Hi, Mayor. I'd like to introduce Dean Hanala to come on up for 25 years. Dean joined Team Chandler after graduating in audio engineering in 1994 from Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. He was hired in 1996 and promoted in 1997. He became a production coordinator in 2001 and became the Center for the Arts Senior Production Coordinator in 2017. Dean coordinates the technical needs for over 1,000 events each year. He has been instrumental to the center, earning a reputation of being one of the best audio venues in the state. His dedication to customer service and teamwork embodies the heart of Chandler values. Dean lives in Chandler with his wife Lee and stepson Isaac. The City of Chandler and the Chandler Center for the Arts are very fortunate to have Dean on staff. Thank you, Dean, for all that you do to elevate the arts in Chandler and our community.
Mayor and Council, I'd like to invite forward our Community Services Director, John Sefton, who has both a service recognition as well as a retirement recognition tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Mr. City Manager, I would like to welcome up for his retirement, Michael Dickerson. Michael Dickerson was an employee with the City of Chandler from December 2007 until he retired on September 9th, 2022. During his time with the city, Michael worked as a groundskeeper as part of the parks maintenance team at Tumbleweed and Veterans Oasis Park. While Michael could do it all, his specialty was trimming trees. I'm sure in his 15 years with the Parks Department that he had the opportunity in trimming nearly every single tree at both Tumbleweed and the Veterans Oasis Park. Michael will always be remembered as a hardworking and friendly individual, well-liked by his coworkers and the public as well. Michael, thank you for your service, and we hope you enjoy your retirement. Thank you. Thank you. And next for 15 years, and no, she's not retiring,
I'd like to invite Loretta Colson up. And as she makes her way, I'll begin 15 years of every year that she worked here at the city. Loretta began her career with the city in 2007 as well as a customer service representative at the Snedeker Recreation Center. Throughout her years of service, Loretta has provided excellent customer service at the community center, at the senior center, and most recently, the recreation services desk at Tumbleweed Recreation Center. Her passion and love for people and the programs held within the recreation department is evident throughout her ongoing cheerful and dedicated service to the community. Loretta exemplifies the City of Chandler's customer service philosophy by connecting with her customers, using her resources, and following through until she can get the customer the answer they're looking for. On behalf of our customer service team and the staff, we thank you for your 15 years of service, and we also want to recognize that she's probably the #1 Chandler Dallas Cowboys former cheerleader. Okay, not cheerleader, but #1 fan. Loretta, thank you for your service.
Mayor and council, that concludes our employee service recognitions this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Amazing people. Next, we have proclamation, and I'll let Councilmember Orlando read this on Cyber Security Awareness Month. If I could call up Owen Zor, and Mitch Robinson.
Good seeing you again. Thank you. Thank you. Don't be afraid of me. I'm sorry. I know he's not afraid of me. All right. Proclamation. Whereas the city of Chandler recognizes that cybersecurity plays a vital role in identifying, protecting its citizens from, and responding to threats that may have significantly impact to our individual and collective safety and privacy. Whereas critical infrastructure is increasingly reliant on the support of information systems and technology, and whereas monitoring your accounts, being conscientious of what you share online, keeping software up to date, creating unique passwords and changing them regularly, installing antivirus programs and firewalls, using mobile devices and other internet connecting devices safely are ways people and organizations can protect themselves from phishing, viruses, ransomware, other types of malware, financial loss, and loss of sensitive data. Bear with me, there's more whereas coming. Whereas the city of Chandler is dedicated to providing every individual, public, and private organization in the city the resources necessary to ensure the understanding, implementation, and success of Cybersecurity Awareness Month to help its citizens stay safe online and connect with the confidence. And whereas all citizens are encouraged to visit stopthinkconnect.org to learn about cybersecurity, to put that knowledge into practice in their homes, schools, workplace, and businesses. And whereas maintain the security of cyberspace is shared responsibility in which each of us is a critical role to play. And awareness of essentially cyber hygiene will improve the security of the city of Chandler's information infrastructure and economy. Now, therefore, Kevin Harkey, the mayor of Chandler, do hereby proclaim the month October 2002 to be Cybersecurity Awareness Month. I did it.
All right, let's take a picture. Would either of you like to say something?
I would love to. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mayor and Council, for the proclamation. Cybersecurity truly is a team sport. Cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. If you're an employee, a resident, or a partner, cybersecurity partners are very important to the city of Chandler as well. We have external partners. We partner with local government, state government, and lots of other organizations to help protect your data and your systems. And we also have internal partnerships. So internal to the city, I want to especially thank Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones with the police department has been integral. We've every time we've reached out to him, we've partnered amazingly with the PD and IT. And he was the first one to reach out to me when I got here to start talking about cybersecurity. So, so please, learn something new this month and do something to improve cybersecurity for your family and your work.
Thank you. I'd like to thank city leadership, the IT teams. I'd like to thank the police department and all of the folks and partners that we have around the state that help keep us safe and give us education to keep staying safe online. Thank you.
Picture. City Manager, I think we need a word limit on these proclamations. Just about wore Councilmember Orlando out. Our next proclamation has to do with Arizona Cities and Towns Week, and if I could call up Tom Belshi, AZ Cities and Towns Executive Director. Tom and I have the opportunity now more so to work closely together as I'm currently the Vice President of the Arizona League of Towns and Cities. President or chair? What is that?
Vice President.
Vice President. I got it right the first time. Whereas the citizens of Chandler rely on the city of Chandler to provide a high quality of life in our community, and whereas cities and towns in Arizona work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to deliver vital services such as fire, police, and emergency medical response to ensure safe communities. And whereas cities and towns in Arizona provide essential infrastructure and services for businesses and residents, such as utilities, transportation, sanitation, recycling services. And whereas cities and towns in Arizona provide facilities and programs that enhance the lives of residents, such as libraries, museums, performing arts and galleries, parks, recreation centers, and related programs. And whereas it's important that the city of Chandler to continue to provide the excellent delivery of services and programs that our citizens rely on in our community. One more. And whereas it is one of the responsibilities of Chandler officials to ensure open and accessible government through frequent communication with citizens using various avenues and means. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, do hereby join the League of Arizona Cities and Towns and fellow municipalities across the state of Arizona, proclaiming last week, October 16th through 22nd, 2022, as Arizona Cities and Towns Week. All right. Would you like to say a couple words?
We'd just like to thank the council, your terrific staff, and the citizens of your city for being an exceptional example of what's right in cities and towns. And we are blessed as the League of Arizona Cities and Towns to have you as a city in our organization. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, let's take a picture. Thank you, sir. All right. We've got a few recognitions of incredible people in our community. The first has to do with the Bauer Sox family. If you would come on up. All right. This evening, we're going to be recognizing Liam Bauer Sox. He's a rising BMX star. He won first place in 10 of the 11 USA BMX freestyle competitions he's taken part in. He was also named National Amateur Champion for the USA BMX Freestyle 2022 season that just won your final one just recently here. Liam started, get this, racing BMX at age 2 on a balance bike and was on a regular race bike by age 3. He started competing when he was just 9 years old and practices 6 nights a week. We look forward to watching Liam's championship journey as he continues to ride. So, Liam, we're excited about you, and I owe you a hat that was given to me by one of the coaches at the Olympics because we want to see him get his own hat in the future. All right. You want to say anything? No. All right. Let's take a picture. This is for you. Thanks, Chance. Our next recognition is an amazing person as well. I'd like to call up Rakna Nath, Educator of the Year. Rakna was honored last month as Educator of the Year at the Arizona Bio Awards. She's a teacher at Arizona College Prep. She teaches Chandler students how to be innovators. And under her program, students have 2 patent pendings and 6 provisional patents. They continue to look at Rakna for inspiration, and you are the educator that we all wished we had. And we just want to commend you as being an amazing person. I know Councilmember Stewart and I were there at Arizona Bio Awards when you were acknowledged, and we're just so glad that you've chosen Chandler to inspire our students.
Thank you. It's my honor to be here. I'm not ready to speak. I'm not a public speaker, but thank you so much, Kevin Hart, Mr. Mayor, the entire council. I know most of you. You've been working with my students for quite some time now, and I'm ever grateful to the city of Chandler and the people that I work with. So thank you again.
All right, let's take a picture. We've got a few more. Our next recognition is the 2021 Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. And I'd like to call up Dawn Lang and the accounting team.
All right. Woo! Well, Mayor, would it be okay if I read the recognition from here and then I'll come up?
Sure, you could do that.
All right. All right. So we have 4 of our amazing accounting team with us this evening, and they're here to be recognized. I'm happy to report the City of Chandler's received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for our annual comprehensive financial report for the 40th consecutive year after completing the annual audit. Established in 1946, the certificate program recognizes state and local governments whose annual financial reports conform to high standards established by the Government Accounting Standards Board, GASB, and the Government Finance Officers Association, GFOA. The financial report has become the nationwide standard for local government financial reporting. This report requires about 4 months of intense work as the city completes the annual audit and prepares the report. An annual report ensures full disclosure of the city's finances in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles and is used by all 3 of our credit rating agencies to help in their assessment of the city's credit worthiness. And we are AAA bond rated, so that's good. Here to accept this award for the preparation of the FY 2020-21 financial report are Christy Smith, our Financial Services Officer, Tracy Schmidt and Robert Steele, our accounting supervisors, and Joanne Chang, our senior accountant. Our thanks and appreciation to them and the entire accounting division, and also the team members throughout city departments, because we cannot do this without everybody. Thank you, Team Chandler. Team Chandler rocks.
All right.
Congratulations.
Our next recognition goes to our video team. And here we have team video with, we have Julie and Courtney. And also not here is Melina Zuinga. And yeah, there we go. So we all know how lucky and blessed we are to have such a talented team, but it's the icing on the cake when a national organization recognizes what we already know. And I'm pleased to announce that the National Association of Telecommunications Officers and Advisors has honored our talented team with 3 awards. Third place for overall excellence in video production, second place for awards of distinction for Chandler Changemakers, and first place for elections. What is a bond? So congratulations to each and every one of you. All right. Do you all want to say something?
So what's really cool about this award, so we got third in the overall, but we were competing against other cities like LA and Washington, D.C. and all the New York City. So anyways, that's pretty impressive because they have a much larger budget than us and a lot more people. So that's pretty impressive. And a lot of our stories are really cool ways that we can highlight all the unique, wonderful people in the city. So that's pretty awesome. Courtney, your turn.
All right. Our first place prize was for a video called What is a Bond? And it's actually a fully animated video where we took a very complex topic and broke it down kind of in layman's terms so everyone could understand, all the residents could understand. And we feel it had a hand in everything. And we're very excited. As Julie said, we competed with cities that were double our budget and double our staff. So we're very proud. Thank you.
Let's take a picture.
And city manager, didn't our bond pass with like one of the highest numbers ever this year?
That's correct.
We owe it to
Councilmember.
the video team.
I think so.
Nice shot.
All right, Councilmember Orlando and I are going to go back behind the dais, and we have 2 more public appearances. All right, our first appearance is Carl Hurst wants to talk about water use and water conservation concerns. Carl, you've got 3 minutes, and the light will be green, and when you have about 30 seconds left, it'll turn yellow, and when it turns red, if you could please wrap up. Welcome,
Okay.
sir. If you could give your name and address for the record here.
Carl Hurst, 9304 East Arrowvale Drive, Sun Lakes, Arizona. Several years ago, and a time frame is kind of escaping with all that's going on in the world, but we noticed on Arizona Avenue between Riggs and Chandler Heights, when they re-landscaped the median there, they put in beautiful metal sculptures with rocks and beautiful boulders, no landscaping, no maintenance, no water. And then again, time frame escapes, but all of a sudden we drive down Arizona Avenue and there must be 1,000 plants. Water use, maintenance, what happened? We know we're in a water crisis of some nature, stage 1, stage 2, depending on where you live, I guess. And then you see what looked to be a great energy saving or water saving feature gone. I mean, just gone. Now you got workers out there trimming and, you know, which also is a little danger with road, with drivers and stuff like that, but it's a water usage. It was great several years ago and it went all gone. Comments, anybody? Water usage?
We really would refer to our staff concerning the water use. I do know that we work really hard to conserve water, and I don't know the details of what happened there, so I won't pretend to, but we do take water very seriously, and I'd love to just hear back from staff and see what happened. And as we are currently in a tier 1 shortage, and as that proceeds, I do know that we will be looking for more ways of saving water. But concerning the specifics of that, I don't think any of us are qualified to give you that.
Somebody must know.
Yeah, so
Somebody
that would be
must
staff. They'd love to talk with you afterwards.
The only other thing, just as these subdivisions are going along, as I got a few seconds, yeah. As these subdivisions are going in, it seems like, I would think the city council or somebody has to approve the landscaping that goes in. And it just seems overdone everywhere with plants that grow and all of a sudden they're all together and it's like you can hardly walk amongst them. So it's just, you know, as these subdivisions get approved, why not cut down on some of the plants that they're allowed to plant? Just a thought.
Okay, well, thank you. I would take your thoughts into consideration. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor.
Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, could staff, number one, get back with them, but can we put, I know we have a zero skate program in the city of Chandler where we help people convert over their lawns. So maybe Josh, you could speak about that and see how we're getting that information out to people.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, we certainly can get some information out to you about the zero escaping program as well.
All right. Our next speaker is Mr. Hussein. And Mr. Hussein, I understand that you want each of your children to make a comment too, or?
You allow me only about 2 minutes, 2 extra minutes from my 3 minutes.
Okay, that would be fine. And Mr. Hussein, I also understand that there are some court proceedings and charges and claims, and we don't want to interfere with that or be part of the process. So we would just like to listen and not respond to your comments on that. But we are here to listen, and we'd love for you to, I'll give you 5 minutes if that's okay, sir.
That'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I'd love to hear your name and address, and if you want to introduce your family members as well.
Good evening. My name is Taha Hussain. I live at 1736 East Fry Road in Chandler, Arizona, only about a mile from here. These are my 3 boys, 3, 5, and 7, and that's my wife. And she's a professional horse rider. And I'm a rancher. I've been living in Chandler for 22 years. I have a ranch here in Chandler. I have another ranch in Red Rock. I have a ranch in Eloy. I'm a professional rancher. I've been doing ranching for 40 years since I was born. My father was a rancher before me. Now, I see Liam, he came and he was excited, and the mayor gave him an award. These are my children. I hope that this country or the city will allow them the same pleasure of having a decent childhood as Liam. That is all I'm asking. I'm not asking for anything more. These my children, they have horses, they have 3 horses. And city of Chandler came and raided my horse illegally and imprisoned me and in front of these children and put me in jail. And the next day they released me. And they took all of their horses. And then after that, the county did not want to prosecute. These are my 3 horses. The Chandler police, I'll read you the Chandler police report actually. Now the Chandler police report that was done, it says all horses, reading the Chandler police report itself, it says approximately all animals appear to be healthy weight. This is from the Chandler police report. I have it. Everybody can get a copy of it. The next time what happened was, let me start you from the beginning. On August 14th, somebody made a call saying that my horses were neglected. And it's a person called Jessica Gray, who's a Marana horse rescue people. It's a big business horse rescue. What they do is they go around to other people's horses and they call the police and they pick up the horses and then they make money off of the city. So the city has to send it to some horse rescue, and they make money off of that. The police job was to see if she has any conflict of interest. The police got the notice on 14th. They showed up at my house on the 24th, which is 10 days after that. I called the Chandler police, I called the Gilbert police, I called the Phoenix police. Their standard procedure is as soon as you get a call, they show up at the house the same day. Worst case scenario, the next day, not 10 days later. On August 24th, 4 o'clock, the police showed up, two detective, and then they went, and 3 hours later, they went to the court and got a arrest warrant. And the warrant specifically says to you are therefore commanded in the daytime to go and search and seize the horses. The Chandler police showed up at my house at 11 at night and arrested me in front of my kids. And I no longer want to live in that house because my children are afraid to go back to that house. Every time we're coming back to the house, they're thinking police is going to come and arrest us. Now, then August 25th, the Chandler police filed a child abuse case against me. And then the Arizona Department of Child Safety came to my house on the 26th, which is very next day. And then they gave me a notice on unsubstantiated child safety report. So this is the report from the child safety people saying that there was no child, no child abuse. These are the children. If it was up to whoever the detective was, they want to put my children into foster care. And I hope you can understand, if you have children, that somebody's coming and trying to take your children and put them in foster care. The next one is the county had no evidence, so they decided not to prosecute me. And that was in September. And then I came to so city of Chandler decided to sue me for all the charges, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars that they're spending for the horse rescue and paying for everything. Then the Chandler prosecutor took me to the court, and then the judge told him this is against the law for you to sue me. And then the Chandler prosecutor, whoever the lady was, and she kept insisting, asking me to pay for it. The judge ruled against her and asked her to pay me for my horses. And I submitted the request to the city of Chandler. I'm yet to see the cost of my horses. Then what I requested was I requested the city of Chandler, and I requested several times meeting with the mayor, Kevin Hartke, and I was told that I cannot have a meeting because it's a pending pending court case. The court case was over in September, and I still haven't had a meeting with anybody. I sent so many emails to every one of you guys. And the next thing is, then I requested an investigation on the police officers and dismissal of Eva Zamano and Mary O'Neill, who are the two police investigators who came to my house. Then city of Chandler, what they decided was they decided to pursue that case again, and then with a fake picture. This is the horse. This is not my horse. This is the horse that they submitted to the county prosecutor, saying that this is a dying horse, that this is my horse. And Chandler police has 200 and 300 pictures. When they raided my house, they opened my fridges, they opened my house, they opened everything. When they didn't have permission to do that, they only had permission to come and seize the horses from my ranch, not go inside my house. So, and then illegally, this is evidence tampering. And I submitted that to the court, and the court is the prosecutor. They have their own problems. The Maricopa County prosecutor, the prosecutor's office under investigation from the federal government. Okay, because the Chandler police in misconduct, and then whatever the issue is. All they're asking me is to accept that I'm guilty of something, and they'll drop the case. And they are offering me a deal or diversion. So I told them that the only thing I'm guilty of is I'm being brown. That is the only thing I'm guilty of. I'm not guilty of anything. If you feel that I'm doing something wrong, show me evidence. I'm providing every single piece of evidence. And I talked to every one of them. And everybody just ignores it. Okay, so the case is pending next month. And I'm hoping the city of Chandler would investigate this so another brown person doesn't have the same problem that I had. And if you guys wish, if you feel that this actually evidence tampering, you can actually have the case dismissed. Everybody has the authority. You may just say, no, it's easy, let the court go. The court will dismiss, is going to jury trial. And the jury will dismiss the case. After the jury dismisses the case, then you will have the say that we didn't do anything. We always have, I pledge allegiance to the flag, and we say we have the liberty and justice for all, and we say we pray the gentleman, He made the prayer that may God give us the power to do justice. This is your chance. We can always talk all we want. And in conclusion, all I want to say is there's a famous quote by a famous thinker. He said, for injustice to prevail, all the good people have to do is be quiet. And the injustice will come to everybody's house eventually. Today, I may be Muslim or a brown or whatever it is. Tomorrow is going to come to another Jewish person or a brown person or a black person or anybody else or a Catholic person. So all I'm asking the police department and the Chandler Council is to investigate this. That's all. I will provide every single piece of evidence
Thank
that
you,
I have.
Mr. Hussein.
Thank you, sir. You're welcome.
Mayor. Josh, city manager, can I get the unredacted footage of the evening that this happened? And then if you could follow up with Mr. Hussein, get the reports that he has in his hands and give me a kind of a briefing on this, I'd appreciate that.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Stewart, we can get you the follow-up information.
Thank you.
In this case. We can send that to the entire council.
Thank you. All right, council, next on our agenda, there were a number of items that were called in. And I'm just going to start by number. The first was item number 6, asking Councilmember Orlando for a brief presentation. Who do we have doing that? Item number 6?
Mr. Owens will be coming forward to
Mr.
present
Owens,
this item.
please.
Mayor, Council, I stand before you today to discuss the Site 7 Development Agreement item that is on the agenda. We're very excited about this item and our partnership with Jackson Dearborn Partners. We understand that this is a very important intersection in downtown Chandler at the corner of Arizona and Chandler Boulevard, and it's the gateway to our downtown. So we're thrilled to be working with such wonderful partners to deliver a project that's worthy of that corner, and are certainly being considerate of it as we move forward with this project. So a little bit of background on the site. Site 7 is located in the blue on this image, which is between Arizona Avenue and Washington Street on Buffalo. It is directly adjacent to the Jackson Dearborn property to the north, formerly known as the core site. Some background on the direction that we've been given from council over the last 2 decades is that council has always hoped that we could do a full block development for this site. So that would be pairing up the north parcels with the city-owned parcels to the south. So when we had the opportunity to do so, in August of 2022, council gave us direction to pursue a development agreement negotiation with Jackson Dearborn Partners to make that nearly whole block development possible. What this allowed us to do is take the Jackson Dearborn original project, which you can see on the screen here, only on their private parcels, which started at 126 units and gave us maybe 3,400 square feet of ground floor commercial, and turn it into a much more robust project that maintained the high quality of architecture you see on the screen here. So the current project with Site 7 is multifamily of 290 units, 13,000 square feet of office, and 16,000 square feet of ground floor commercial. Again, that office is capable of being included in this project because we were able to put together a whole block development here in conjunction with Jackson Dearborn. And it gives us more than 12,000 additional ground floor commercial space, which activates Arizona Avenue on both sides of the Jack in the Box, mirroring what happens at Overstreet. You can see that the architecture is also of a high quality as well. And some details of the development agreement. The sale price is that of the appraised value of $2.94 million. We have no incentives involved in the development agreement. There is a buyback provision, so the city can buy back the land from Jackson Dearborn Partners if they're unable to fulfill their end of the bargain. Construction should commence within 24 months of the effective date of the agreement and be completed within 54 months of that agreement effective date as well. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Councilmember Orlando.
Yeah, Mayor, not too much of a big question. I know, like you said, I've been working on this for over 20 years, and there's been a lot of proposals come out of here, some good, some bad, but they never really had the money, the financing. And I'm glad council and staff stuck together and made sure that we got a retail element and we got the office element to this, because the original design was just more apartments, which is fine, and they look great. But again, I always have to look at, we as a council, what's in it for the city. Apartments are great, multifamily is great, but the key is we need retail to keep paying for those police officers, firefighters, and the services. And the key is we need places for businesses to grow and expand in our community. So I'm glad we stuck together on this. I'm glad we actually said to the developer, look, you could do this, you could buy this piece of property, but you got to give residents something back from a long-term perspective, and not just from your investors. So I certainly appreciate this, and this isn't the first time we've done this. I think we're doing this across the board, and so the developers have to understand we're asking for stuff in return for them to put these projects in there. And so, not to mention, it's a good corner, and I think it's a great project for the city. I think it's going to be 7 stories, right? It's going to be the highest building in Chandler, as far as I know.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, I can't comment as to whether or not it will be the highest building in Chandler, but from the initial plans, it does appear to be about 7 stories.
Okay, great. We'll have to measure it someday. All right, thank you. Thanks, Mayor.
Additional comments? Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you. Great presentation, John. It is a beautiful building. Just a real quick question. 2 years to get started. Can you give some background on that? I'd love to see it up tomorrow. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, these projects do take time to go through the planning process. We're not giving them any breaks in there, so we want to make sure that it goes through the normal public process, that planning has their chance to ensure that it conforms to code in various ways. And of course, they need to do their due diligence on the final purchasing component of this as well. So there are little bits and pieces in there that add time to it, but we're confident that they are excited to get this deal done and get going as much as we are.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next item is called in also by Councilmember Orlando, items number 8 and 9.
And Mayor, the only comment I had, I made that with staff today, is if you could do us a favor, staff, so we could avoid the phone call exchanges, give us a little more detail what these projects are. Pictures one thing, vicinity map's great, but a little descriptive of what's going in there. Business park, hotels. In this case, one was pretty obvious, but the other one, if you look at this thing, I just said business center. I don't know what that meant. So if you give us a little bit more description in there, a couple more sentences just to give us clarification, as well as the public to know what's going on as well, so that they can look it up and know that there's something else going on other than a picture or design. That's all I have to say. And I know we've done a great job in communicating this, so just take the next step. I appreciate it.
Item number 15 is called in by myself and Councilmember Stewart. I wanted just a brief presentation and a couple comments.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Item number 15 is an amendment to the current fireworks ordinance. We have 2 very specific changes for this ordinance that we're bringing forward tonight. The first is in response to Senate Bill 1275, which was passed into law earlier this year. The state law now restricts the use of consumer-based fireworks on all authorized days from the hours of 11 p.m. through 8 a.m. There are 2 exceptions to this, and that is on the 4th of July and New Year's Eve, where the restriction occurs from 1 a.m. through 8 a.m. The second change we're bringing forward tonight allows for the sale and use of consumer-based fireworks for the celebration of Diwali. Specifically, you can now sell consumer-based fireworks 2 days prior to the start of Diwali up through the 3rd day of Diwali. And you can actually use the fireworks on the 2nd and 3rd days of Diwali. Both of these change will make us consistent with the state. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Well, Chief, happy Diwali. That's today.
It is.
So one of the reasons I brought this up is just to let our citizens know that there might be fireworks, particularly tomorrow or the next day. And those would also have the time restrictions that were listed, except for the late hours of New Year's and 4th of July. And again, there's no exception to the same kinds of fireworks. So if a firework was propelling into the sky with big booms and illegal before, they're still illegal today, right?
Mayor, that's correct. It's consumer-based fireworks, which are regulated. Those are the types that you can buy at the Walmarts. That we have the tents that go up on the sides of the road. We inspect all of those tents to ensure that they are the actual legal fireworks. These are the fireworks that are referred to within this law.
I do know earlier this spring, in particular after the New Year's, we heard loud and clear from residents that were concerned about the fireworks, the times, and while an illegal firework is illegal regardless of when it is shot, but this will give some more parameters and hopefully some relief to veterans who might struggle with loud noises or pets that also respond negatively to such things. So I'm looking forward to us adding this to our particular piece. Councilmember Stewart.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Chief, and good to talk to you and City Manager earlier today about this. So, one of the things I'm hoping that we can do is include some of these other holidays that I think our community, like last night I was out for Diwali in my neighborhood. The kids were shooting off fireworks in the street, the little fountains and everything, just having a blast. It was just the best time to walk around the neighborhood. Everybody was outside. There were so many other holidays that we have: Chinese New Year, we have graduations, Juneteenth, weddings, all those kind of things. And so I'd hope that staff could help me write up an amendment to this so that we can include those holidays from the time of till 11 p.m. like it is on some of those other days within the July 4th. Is it July 4th when we have that? And then
July 4th and New Year's Eve.
and then it goes to 1 on those like super big holidays. But maybe we could work in the language so we could at least include those. So there's no confusion for our police officers if somebody has those out in the street or whatever during those weeks. Thoughts? Can we write something like that up?
Can I second that?
Mayor, can we, are you asking to this or a separate piece for us to look at another time?
To add the language to this, an amendment on Thursday that somebody will have.
I think there's probably a little more work to be done. I know I would want to have further regulation on some of those rather than just if someone's shooting off fireworks, just say, well, it's my birthday or it's this. Again, for the reasons that I was for some control of the others in terms of with pets and veterans, I personally, I would want to have a further definition before I would agree to that. But
so do you want to table this then on Thursday?
I would ask that we would go ahead and take care of this piece because this needs to happen if we're going to get it in by December. And I'd be willing to start the conversation, which is less time sensitive than this. I mean, that's how I would vote on it. But
yeah, it's just I understand, Mayor. Go ahead.
Yeah. Mayor, I agree. I mean, let's vote on this week, and I'm sure we could take a subcommittee, come back and look at some of these things, come back to council and take a look at if we want to expand this or not. And so I'm definitely, I mean, that's pretty much the process we do here in the city. We take good ideas, we percolate them out, and then we be able to, digest them. We just had a nice dialogue about an hour or two ago. So not that would be that much of a excitement going on, but I would suggest fireworks. I know we had fireworks. I kind of agree with you, Mayor. It's some sage advice you're giving us here. Let's take a look at it, okay?
Councilmember Lopez and then Councilmember Harris.
And if I may, I think this one we're voting on today is again just to make city code compliant with the current changes by the SB, whatever number, I can't read the number, but the state statutes changed, so we need to change ours to comply to the state statute. That's what this is about first,
Through the
correct?
Mayor, Councilmember Lopez, that's correct. This will put us in alignment with the state law.
Alignment, that's a better wording. And then for the expansion on that, again, I kind of had that question when I talked with the city manager, is that there are special permits that people can get to celebrate mayor's birthdays as such when it comes up this next year to cast fireworks. So you can get special permitting anytime. But I think to do it outside of that, I think there's a state statute limitations that we are bound by that I don't know if we can go beyond that. So I don't know what that's the thing. I think that's where we do need to dive into and maybe find out more on how much wiggle room we truly do have.
Yeah. So
yeah.
To address that though, we talked about it today, and Diwali is added as a special thing. So it would be incongruent with what you're saying about the state law. We added our own piece, which is Diwali. So I'm just saying.
I thought Diwali was added by the
Chinese
state.
New Year's, Bastille Day.
Right.
And there's a number of them that we should.
That's funny.
Hey, for our French Americans, it is important. So,
But
this way we
think-
can open it up.
But Diwali, I thought, was
so we
added
don't
by
have
the
to
state.
ask for permits. We shouldn't have to ask our community for permission to celebrate.
Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Councilmember Mark Stewart on this. I definitely see the same what he's saying. I mean, if we're going to look at this thing one way and then we're going to decide to do it for this, we need to go ahead and table it and include everything so we don't have to come back to the table and redo it again. I like some of the things that he brought forth that could be celebrated, and I think that can be a great mix. So I'm with tabling this and adding whatever the extra that needs to be added there. So I'm with Councilmember Mark Stewart, and no one should be left out. If we can look at it and see what that looks like, then let's talk about it some more before we vote on it.
Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you again. I think what we're doing right now is trying to move forward with the amendment that we just done. And if we wanted to add more to it, we can go back and do the research and then come back and do an amendment and then just put it on the agenda and just vote on it, just like the other things that we vote on. But at this time, I think we should just go ahead and proceed as we started, and then just go back to the drawing board on the rest of the thing that Councilmember Stewart, because I would like to see them too, but at this moment, I think we need to move forward with the vote on this one for the Thursday. Thank you,
City
Mayor.
Manager. Mayor.
Councilmember Stewart.
Sorry, City Manager. Can we get that on our very next agenda and get that stuff added in there as council's directed? And then we can kind of discuss and vote on it then, and then we'll let this one fly through.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Stewart, the next council meeting's in 2 weeks, so agenda
Great.
items are already being submitted. If there's consensus among the council as you want those, we can certainly put that in. But there's some advertising requirements, and if there's a discussion that needs to be had at a subcommittee or work session, that's going to take a little bit longer from a time frame perspective. So.
Would you be amenable to getting it on in December? It'll miss my
I don't
birthday.
think we need
I'm
a big
okay with that.
subcommittee or a big study session for this. This is just adding a few extra holidays in the name of equity to make sure that everything's fair, and you know what I mean.
Mayor.
So, but it's up to the council.
So, Mayor,
Councilmember Orlando.
so again, how many more holidays you want to add? So these are the type of questions we have to take a hard look at. How many, I mean, there's 20 holidays, 40 holidays, birthdays. Again, I'm not saying what you're saying is incorrect or not. I'm just saying we have to, maybe I'm a process guy, but to just say, let's add a bunch of holidays on without some giving them due diligence on what the impact is on our police and fire resources, what the impact's going to be on our residents. We, as the mayor indicated before, that's probably the largest issue we get every year is the impact to the animals, the impact to the PTS crew world. In fact, the American Legion right now is looking at a policy to help restrict the fireworks. So again, this is not just let's throw some stuff out there. Let's take a look at. No, again.
Yeah, we're not throwing
Well,
stuff out
yeah,
there. I meant,
you're
I was
saying let's
specific.
add
Yeah.
how many holidays you want to add. And there's a lot of questions you have to ask, and what's the impact going to be on those rest of the citizens? And my suggestion is, again, I think the mayor's giving sage advice here. Let's pass this. Let's take a step back. Let's look at this, whether it's a subcommittee, whether it's a council work session, and let's do due diligence on these things. And that's, I mean, I agree, it's sage advice.
Go ahead.
Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, I mean, I respect what the council members are saying, but if there's a conversation about it, let's see the information about adding this. Let's see the study about adding this. I mean, we're gonna have a discussion about like different, if we're not gonna table it and we're gonna move forward because we're gonna add this, those questions that you asked are very valid. So I would probably want to know the answer to those questions as well. And then including what Councilmember Stewart added, which was his specific items. So if we're saying yes to one holiday, then we should consider others. And I think that's a fair statement, a fair ask, and not to proceed forward with the vote until we get those fair questions, because you can't do for one that you're not willing to do for the other. So I support Councilmember Stewart on this, and we should, if we're going, let's just table it, have the real conversation. Let's bring it all back together again. Then we can have a real conversation. So I'm in favor of tabling this whole conversation until we're able to figure out those questions.
So Councilmember Harris, I would hope that council would move this forward. And the reason why is that if we do not do this, then it's unrestricted fireworks anytime around between Christmas and New Year's again. This puts parameters at least onto those. And Christmas and New Year's and 4th of July, it's not just a night, it's a week. And I'm all for furthering this conversation. But I really hope, council, that we can put that piece in and come back and treat it as a separate thing. And I suppose we could see what council wants to do on, I mean, someone is able to make an amendment if you so choose on Thursday, if that's the case, but I would hope that we would press on with that piece and then come back. City Attorney, you would like to speak on this?
Yes, if I may, Mayor, just a couple clarifications. One, the state legislature has preempted this area. So there are certain times of the year where the city cannot prohibit the use of permissible consumer fireworks. And at the last legislative session, the state legislature added Diwali. So this isn't a holiday the city picked. This was some of the state legislatures imposing. So I just wanted to clarify that. And two, I would be concerned about amending this ordinance on Thursday to expand the holidays because I think it's something that we need to provide adequate notice to the community for. And right now, the only notice that's been provided is adding the Diwali holiday exception as well as changing the hours.
Mayor,
Councilmember Harris.
I would like to make a motion to table this item.
We're not
until.
voting tonight, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I would like to table the item until we get more information. I think 2 weeks is sufficient enough time for them to determine what we need to add to this thing. I think that's fair. You said you said voting on it for Thursday. You said voting on Thursday. If we don't vote it on Thursday, then it leaves it unrestricted until the end of the year. So we have our next meeting in like a couple of weeks. Why can't we try to figure out a way to create the win in terms of what Councilmember Stewart is adding? Because I actually like what he's adding to it. So could do a sidebar.
City Attorney, does this also require a comeback on this, or is it a standalone? Sometimes we have a final or second vote on things.
Mayor, I apologize. Thank you. Yes, we will have to bring this back for final action. The introduction is Thursday and it'll be brought back for final action.
Okay, so it does take 2 meetings. Okay.
So if I may, Mayor. So for a city attorney then, so if we don't pass this, are we out of compliance of state statute? And again, there would be fireworks displays this coming New Year's Eve longer than state allows, but our city doesn't?
Mayor,
Or does not restrict?
Mayor, if I may, Councilmember Lopez. What the state law, it gives authority to the cities to regulate fireworks, but limits that time. You know, that we can't prohibit them on New Year's Eve, we can't prohibit them 4th of July. Currently, our code, I believe, allows the fireworks to go later, which was consistent with the state law. The state law now says cities and towns, you can prohibit the use of permissible consumer fireworks between 11 p.m. and 8 a.m., except for New Year's Eve and 4th of July. So if this is not approved by the council, then our longer time will stay in effect. And I would defer to Chief Dwiggins as to what that is, but this actually just gives the city authority to prohibit the use between 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. and 1 a.m.
Okay, so I think that key word, and you answered my question with the can. So it allowed cities restricted, and again, this is us following that restriction, but we do not have to follow the restriction. We can allow it to stay as is, with is basically unlimited.
Mayor, Councilmember
Right now.
Lopez, that is
Okay,
correct.
all right, better understanding. Thank you.
All right. City Attorney, I'm just following up and thinking of Councilmember Harris's request is, since we're not voting on something tonight, if this council wanted to continue that would be a decision on Thursday, or would that be a decision today? Remind me.
Mayor, I would recommend that action be taken on Thursday.
Okay. So if council, if you have a wish to do so, you have a chance to talk to council members and make that motion to continue this on Thursday, if that's your will, or we can pick it up at a second time for the other additional material that you're so requesting. So I believe you can continue it. I suppose there could be amendments made or voting it up or down as is, correct?
Yes, Mayor, but I would recommend that if amendments are going to be made on Thursday that add more holidays, that we table it and bring it back to give the public adequate notice of that.
Okay, very good. All right.
But we don't have to. We can just amend, we can just make the amendment, call, and then we can vote on it at the point, right? I mean, it's not required by law.
Mayor,
When was this notification out to the public?
Mayor, Councilmember Stewart, we've notified the public. The only things to be considered are the Diwali holiday and the change in hours. If the council wants to expand that on Thursday, I would recommend it come back with notice to comply with the open meeting law.
I got a question.
Good.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand the question. I didn't understand. Does that mean like what's like? Do we have to give the public 24 hours notice? Do we have like when you talk about public notice? Tell me the definition of what is the public notice that you're talking about. Are you talking about 1 hour can be public notice, 24 hours, 36 hours? So tell me like so I can know because I think that's what we're asking the same question like how much public notice needs to be had.
If I may, Mayor?
City Attorney.
Councilmember Harris. What the law requires is that when we put an item on the agenda, it provides sufficient notice to the public that they know what the council's considering for action. It must be given, notice must be given a minimum of 24 hours excluding Sundays.
Okay.
But the reason I'm reluctant to just have that happen on Thursday is because I'm not sure exactly what the council wants included, and I would recommend that we give the public sufficient notice of any additional holidays or other days the council would be considering to add to the ordinance.
I also, and I think once this passed at the state, we had residents here, and I specifically spoke and said the state has approved this action, and this is going to change, but this was the first time that we could vote on it. So I said to our constituents who came to a council meeting concerned about this, and you all were here, that this is something that we were going to put in place that would affect at Christmas. So I know for me, I felt that I've made a promise to our constituents who came here to complain about fireworks. So that would guide and I'm certainly willing to pick up a further conversation, but I sat up here and said to our constituents that we would take this in order to limit the hours of times on certain dates. So at this point, Council, you're willing to make that decision, but I do hope that in the name of transparency, that we just wouldn't do things that will affect some of the very words that we spoke to our constituents in that particular fashion.
Good, Mayor.
Sir.
Good feedback. Yeah, the intent of an amendment is to not deviate from the modifications in this as it stands. It's to add cultural holidays that were not covered by the ARS statute. Nothing more, nothing less. We're adding Chinese New Year. We're adding Juneteenth. We're adding weddings, graduations, personal cultural celebrations of any kind that people may want to take part in. And they would fit within those timeframes of 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Now, will there be a challenge on our police force? I don't know. Was there last night? I hadn't heard anything. I didn't hear any sirens or anything like that. But that's what we pay our police to do, is to manage conflict within our neighborhoods. And if somebody goes beyond that time, then they will call the police based on this rule when they wouldn't have called it previously because we didn't have a statute in place. So this is going to be good for the community. Mayor, I understand where you're coming from. We want to get this implemented so we can move forward. If this were any other issue, I can make an amendment from the floor at the time of the vote, and we could amend it on the spot. It's essentially what I'm doing, but As a courtesy, I brought it up during study session so we could have the time to discuss it and do what everybody wants to do. That may backfire the way this is planning out, but if that's what council wants to do, I totally understand, and I'd be willing to acquiesce on that point. But I want to make sure that we have a date that we can talk about those particular holidays to get those added. Can we do that tonight? City manager?
City manager, can you meet with staff and set up a thoughtful conversation? I don't know if this would go to a subcommittee, but as soon as possible.
Yes, Mayor, we can certainly work expeditiously on this.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Covers your concerns. Councilmember Harris.
Yeah, I am with Councilmember Stewart on that. I think that the AR statute did not consider other other cultural holidays. I know personally, I like Juneteenth holiday. You know, I like that holiday. I like some of the other stuff that there was mentioned. But we definitely need to, when we say as soon as possible, what are you looking at in terms of times and city manager? Because I know as soon as possible is a very vague. I'm learning that in government, soon as possible does not mean yesterday. So give us a real time frame so that way we can say that is as soon as possible, so we can be talking about the same thing.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor,
City manager.
Councilmember Harris, without my calendar or any of yours in front of me, I would hesitate to answer that question with a specific date. I can say we will certainly work as quickly as possible if that's the direction. I'm hearing a few different things from the council in terms of how far council may want to go with defining what those holidays are. So obviously there's a need for some further clarification and discussion, and we would need to have time to do that and bring something to you for you to actually consider. So I will say as quickly as possible. We'll get to work on it right away tomorrow, but I don't have a specific date yet. One last question.
Just one last question. Councilmember Stewart, we talked about the amendments. You know, you talked about notification. If we added amendment to it, would that be the beginning point of starting it, or could a council member put it back on the agenda and say, hey, we want to add these amendments to the ordinance? How would that look? Because I want to make sure that we safeguard the conversation and not, you know, because I know sometimes speed of government moves extremely slow. I'm learning as a new council member. So I want to know what our options are if we say, okay, it's taking a little bit of time. It's been a year. You know, it's been 2 years. We're still working on it. I just kind of want to make sure we're all on the same page in terms of if we brought this back, it was like, okay, there's amendment, you know, we want to add to it. So can you just make sure everyone know I can understand that a little better? Can we bring it back for an amendment? Can we bring it back for an amendment? Can we put it back on the agenda for an amendment after it's been brought forward?
Mayor Harkey, if I may, Councilmember Harris, if the ordinance is changed between if it's changed between the introduction and the final action, we have to start the process over, and that's our charter requirement.
So basically, us looking into it would basically start a brand new action. Like, let's say we vote on it, right? So basically, to redo this, we will have to go back and start all the way back from the beginning to get us to where we are today, right? Is that what you're saying?
Mayor Harkey, Councilmember Harris, so I think you can do it in one action or two. We can proceed with this ordinance and bring back another ordinance that has the direction that the council's given tonight to add more holidays. That would be by separate ordinance, but it's still going to have to follow the same process. And if you make these changes, you're still going to have to redo the process. So I think the time's going to take what it takes either way.
I think that's what, and I could be wrong. I think that's what Councilmember Stewart and I was alluding to was like, if we tabled it, then we can just put everything in together. Versus if we don't table it and we just vote on that one thing, then we're going to have to start our process back over again. And I don't know how long it took for it to get here. I know it's in front of me today. I think that's what we was kind of alluding to. If we add the amendments to it, then we won't have to start the process all the way back over from the beginning, which could take speed of government is a little bit slower than, you know. So that's kind of what I think that's where we are. That's where we are. And that's why he said about the amendment, and that's why I agree with him about the amendment, because if we stop this process, we vote on this process, then we're going to be back and we're going to be starting this process all the way back over from the beginning, and we don't know how long that's going to naturally take to get back to where we're talking about today. I think that's where we are.
City Manager, if we vote on this as is on Thursday, we could bring it back at the council meeting the following council Monday, correct? So a week and a half. We don't have to wait to the 2 weeks later at Thursday, since we'll have a double week council meeting. Okay, so that there's still time if there is some sense of rush on this on any council member's part or not. So, okay, but in any case, if that would be Thursday, if you care to make any
Mayor,
changes.
Mayor, I'm comfortable with that. Thank you for allowing that and for us having a robust discussion. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Our next item, thank you, Chief Dwiggins. Next item brought forth by Councilmember Ellis and Councilmember Orlando is item number 33, approval of the development with Gorman. Do we have a presentation? Then I'm going to let Councilmember Ellis take this one first.
Thank you, Mayor. We have our beautiful Miss Leah coming down and giving us a short presentation, I hope, and letting us know where we are and what we're doing and why we're doing that. Thank you, Miss Leah.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Give me 1 second here. We'll get this started. Good evening. Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity tonight to share with you where we are with this work that we've been doing for the last really 3 years. So I'm going to have Amy Jacobson come up and she'll be able to do the presentation and we'll both be here to answer questions for you.
Thank you, Ms. Leah.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. We are seeking approval to enter into a development agreement to pursue a project to modernize current public housing into a new development. We are going to look into the current public housing inventory and the demographics and discuss the first project that will transition from our reliance on federal housing to a public-private partnership and recommend to enter into the development agreement. As we have discussed over the last couple years, PHAC has worked under a PHAC session in October of 2019, and we received direction to explore the highest and best use of sites to reposition housing. We again on August 24th proceeded to receive PHAC adoption and approval of our 2020 and 2025 Housing and Redevelopment Strategic Plan. In there, their goal was to improve public housing through a public-private partnership. And then recently in July of 2021, PHAC pursued a land assemblage for highest and best use to negotiate a development agreement with Gorman and Company. Real quickly, the Chandler public housing demographics. Based on American Community Survey, in Chandler, we have over 26,000 households that are below 80% area median income. Chandler houses over 1,000 people in public housing. 303 are households with households that are single parents, and a quarter of them are seniors and those that have disabilities. We have been designated as a HUD, high performing housing authority over many decades, and our mission is to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing for low-income families. Since 1972, Chandler has been providing public housing options in our community. We are at a point where we need to address our aging multifamily public housing stock, and it's not because it's not been attended to or maintained, but it's a result of the lack of federal housing funds for capital improvements. We are at a junction currently where public housing are able to do this through a HUD program called the Rental Assistance Demonstration. And our guiding principles include these on the screen, which again is to reduce the relocation of residents, increase our senior housing inventory, compliant with our general plan, and create really a synergy in our community. Other housing requirements include requirements under federal law, which is federal housing, which prohibits discrimination. So these housing programs really rely on the resident resident selection policies, where we as an owner can adopt considerations for seniors, permit applicants to be selected from a wait list before other eligible applicants. Also, eligibility standards. This includes they must be low income, they must be suitable for tenancy. All of our residents have criminal background checks, we do, and U.S. citizenship is verified. So any housing assistance is available only for those that are U.S. citizens or have eligible immigration status.
Mayor, real quick question. Before you leave that slide.
Councilmember.
Thank you, Mayor, I'm sorry. What does it mean eligible immigration status? Is that someone like, for instance, was in Afghanistan and we're bringing them over, that person over because they helped our troops over there, that they're giving certain status as eligible immigration status? What does that really mean?
So under the U.S. citizenship, to verify, we look at if they are non-citizens that have eligible immigration status. So in that case, if they are eligible to work here, if they are under those eligibilities, immigration status, then yes, they would be eligible.
So if they're given a green card or something like that, is what you're saying, or in the process of getting that it's eligible, right?
Yes.
So no one that is illegal, because this keeps coming up over and over again, no one that is legal gets to stay in the housing.
So Mayor and Councilmember Orlando, that is correct. They have to meet eligibility requirements, which includes any individuals that are non-citizens that have eligible and legal immigration status.
Thank you. All right, appreciate that.
Good point. Thank you, Councilman.
So let me just highlight real quick the project on Villas on McQueen. This is a project that will be a new construction on 5 acres. It's 157 units, and it's a mixture of unit sizes. There'll be 1 to 5 bedrooms. And currently we have families and those that are seniors eligible for this project. We have 22 current residents in public housing that will be transitioned onto the site, along with an additional 28 additional seniors. We'll have a multi-generational center, resident community centers, and really the focus is that the financing of this project will not include any city general funds. This is a major funding source coming from the low-income housing tax credit program, both state and federal. The project completion will be early 2025. This slide depicts where the projects will, the sites will be located. So if you notice, sites 2 and 3 will be moving those residents, those current public housing residents, onto the new site. This will be 157 units of existing, half will be existing public housing, as well as additional new affordable housing here in Chandler. Furthermore, we're looking into a proposed development that will increase the number of affordable housing, including those that are seniors and those that have persons with disabilities, as well as veterans. We're looking those to transition our seniors from Kingston onto Site 3, in which case we think that we could propose an additional 200 units. Our development partner is Gorman and Company. Gorman has an exceeded record of doing these types of projects, not only here in Arizona, but across the nation. We will continue to work with them throughout this development process. And in our negotiations with them, the city will also have the right to inspect the units. We will make sure that the maintenance on these properties maintained to a high standard. And this slide is the before and after. The second picture is really just a rendition of an elevation of what the project will look like. Currently, it's a vacant piece of property, and 157 units of affordable, well-maintained housing units will be located on this site. It's approximately 4 stories. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions. The recommendation is to approve the development agreement with Gorman, with the special populations to be included, such as seniors, persons with disabilities, and veterans.
Councilmember Ellis.
Thank you, Ms. Amy. This, the reason why I wanted to hear this condensed version of it, because as you said, we've been working on this thing since 2019, and we have over and over sat down with your team and Ms. Leah's team to see where we wanted to go with this project. I wanted the community itself to be aware what an amazing project this is. I've done some projects in the past, but I have never seen anything to this caliber, even with private partnership. So my main thing today is to commend you guys for what you're doing. I wanted to thank you for putting this together, and truly, I think our community is going to really benefit from this. And looking into the other 200 unit that we're looking into is going to add so much to our community. When I went to the site that you are going to convert, and there were kids there. And I asked them, and I said to them, if there is something you wanted, your desires from your heart, what would it be? Those kids took me and they walked me to the basketball court, and they said, look at our basketball court in the state that it is. And at that moment, I felt that that's a place where they feel safe. That's a place where they would love to come after school. And I wanted to redo that basketball court immediately. I called Miss Lee. I say, hey, let's find some people in the community to buy and let's redo it. And you both sat down with me and said, hey, wait a minute, because we were thinking about long term, not just short term. Can we give them something better than just a basketball court? And I fell in love with that. I love that idea. And I wanted to make sure that these boys, they know that we are thinking about their future. Living in a place where you feel that you can bring your friend, that's mental health. Okay, living in a place where you are not ashamed of your parents, and have your teachers able to come, or anyone, your family members can come and visit, that's mental health. And so I'm excited of what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for all the work you have put in. And as far as I'm concerned, I think this project should go forward too, as you have recommended tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Orlando.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that, Councilman Ellis. It's pretty much the reason why I wanted to obviously talk about this, because, you know, as the mayor said earlier, another subject, we make a lot of promises up here. And we made some promises to individuals that we'd come back with this after we had a chance to look at it, after we had a chance to look at the financial forms. We had numerous questions on this thing. I think we had 2 sessions on this. And, you know, one of the questions came out from the staff, the residents here is, well, after the 10 years, what happens? And then we found that out. You could renew this again for 10 more years. And the other thing that I didn't realize until we started doing our due diligence is this light tech type of property, this loan process, has been around since Ronald Reagan's administration. It's just being renewed now. In fact, the National League of Cities has taken a strong statement. My committee, by the way, we're taking a strong statement on making sure Congress renews this, because I'm hearing more and more small communities around the nation. This is their lifeline to help get workforce housing in their community. So, you know, we're a little more fortunate here in Chandler, but some of these smaller communities, that's the only type of funding they have. So this is important that we move forward with something like this. It's a great partnership, as we indicated earlier, and hopefully we could take the next phases over the next few years. We do our due diligence and figure out how this works, and again, make sure we're doing the right thing over the next couple of years. So appreciate the comments.
Hey, to the Boy Scout troop leaving, thank you. And more than, I know you had hoped to talk to us afterwards. I or any council member is more than willing to meet with you on one of your regular meetings to finish this part of the requirement. So thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, make sure they do their homework.
Any additional comments on this particular item before us? All right. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Leah. Our last item. Got no takers. It was item number 56, also brought forth by myself and Councilmember Stewart. This has to do with LED lighting. I know I was just going to make a comment. Did you need or want a presentation, or?
No, I was just going to ask a question. Big price tag. Dawn, tell me what the savings are going to be annually for this $10 million price tag.
Through the mayor, Councilmember Stewart, we're going to be anywhere between 673,000 up to potentially about 700,000
So,
ongoing savings.
so we were going to have to invest in new light bulbs anyway. Now we're going to LED. So you extract that out of that. We have a sustainability story, and then we have savings of ongoing dollars. Is that correct? Which means we get to spend it on parks and other things that we like to do,
Well,
or tax cuts.
through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, this was a plan approved October 14th, 2021, using AZ CARES and the American Rescue Funds, ARPA. And at that time, those savings, this project was accelerated into just 1 year to generate those savings to help pay for the 10 officers that were recently hired. And so that those monies have already been committed for that purpose.
Even better.
Yes,
Thank you for the update.
you bet.
And after your introduction and Councilmember Stewart's questions, I've got nothing to add.
I am sorry, Mayor. I didn't mean to hijack you.
No, you didn't hijack. Anything else on this?
He always gets the last word anyway, right? Like now.
All right, nothing else on this? All right. Council, this is all that was called in. We'll see you back on Thursday. Thank you. Good meeting.